Hey guys, Andy here from ReverbNerds.com, and I've got a pretty cool pedal demo for you today. I'm going to be looking at the Instant Lo-Fi Junkie from Zvex. And before I jump in, I'm just going to go ahead and show you what my clean signal sounds like. I am playing a Parts Telecaster into a Matchless Chieftain, and this is what it sounds like. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it on and show you what it sounds like, and then I'll tell you a little bit about it, alright? So as you can hear, you can definitely hear where the lo-fi term comes in for this. It's kind of, if I had to describe this pedal, it's a lo-fi vibrato slash chorus pedal, and it really does a bunch of different things, and they're all pretty cool. And the reason this pedal came about is because Zvex has a what's called a lo-fi loop junkie, and it's just a little pedal that allows you to record a loop and then applies this kind of warbly lo-fi tone to the looped signal, but not to your dry signal. And I think a lot of people said, hey, that sound is really cool, can we do that real time to our our dry guitar signal? And so that's where this comes from. It applies that sound in real time, and so I'll go through it really quick and show you what it does, and then I'll tell you kind of how I'm using it and why it's pretty cool. So from left to right, you can see there's 5 knobs. You've got a volume knob, and that's actually pretty important. I'll show you in a little bit. And then you've got a tone knob. So you can see I've got it straight up there. You can roll the tone down like this. And obviously there you get a super bassy sound, and that's kind of why the volume is very important, because you kind of need to compensate when you roll off that much high frequency. Okay, and you can also brighten it up quite a bit. And you can also hear that within the lo-fi component of this, there's also a little bit of distortion. Just a real quick comparison to the clean again. Got the nice sparkly, bright original guitar signal compared to this. Okay, so the next knob is a mix knob, and it works a little differently than a normal mix knob. All the way to the right, which is, you can see where I have it, that's your complete lo-fi signal. So right now I'm mixing in just the lo-fi signal, but there's another signal in here that is really just a not overly compressed, but really a very compressed signal, and it sounds like this. You can hear that's really working, that's a compressor that's working really hard. So that's pretty cool, but the coolest part about it, and you can see that I rolled the knob all the way to the left there, you roll it back to the middle and you're blending those two signals. Okay, so what happens there, because of the vibrato, there's sort of a natural chorusing effect going on. So you're mixing a signal that's being detuned with a signal that's not, and that's basically what chorus is, right? So pretty cool. I'm going to put it back to the lo-fi side. And then the other 2 knobs are about the vibrato. So you've got depth and speed. You can see I've got the depth all the way up and kind of a moderate speed. You can obviously make it faster. As the speed goes up, it's almost like the depth increases too. That's probably just because it gets more noticeable. And the very slow speeds are kind of, you almost can't tell it's there. You can just tell that something sort of weird is going on. And finally, there's this little three-way toggle up on top, and you can choose different sort of waveforms for the vibrato. I've got a standard sort of sine wave, I guess, set up there. The middle one is a triangle wave. So you can hear it's a lot more kind of harsh, I guess. It's not as smooth as the sine wave. And then there's like a square wave. So you can hear it's a lot less smooth than the sine wave. So that's pretty cool. So that's a basic overview of kind of the options of this pedal. But really, I think, so I'll tell you, as an ambient guitar player, one of the coolest things about this is that it's just kind of weird. You know, we've got our staple delays and reverbs, and those are very cool, obviously. This pedal is cool because it just does something different, and I think, I'm sure I'm not alone in within this style of ambient guitar of having the desire to really just do strange things to the guitar signal and make it sound weird, and this pedal is all about that. So one of the other things about this pedal, it's cool in and of itself, but I think the placement on your pedal board can really make this more useful. So I know you can't see my whole board here, but the signal chain right now is, I'm going into the Strymon Flint, which is up on the top right, and then into the Echo Dream 2, which is an analog delay, and then into the Lo-Fi Junkie, and then out of the Lo-Fi Junkie we go into 2 more delays and another reverb. So the reason I've put it here is because I can put delay and reverb before this, but also after it. And there's some key differences to those two things. So let me put this back to kind of a regular setting. That's kind of one of my favorite sounds from it right now. Kind of the slower vibrato. So I'll show you normal kind of putting delay and reverb after the pedal. So obviously the vibrato is sort of shifting the signal, and I'll just add a little bit of analog delay to it from the timeline. It sounds like this. So that almost adds that chorus back to it, right? Because you've got the repeats of the delays are going to be pitch shifted a little differently than the actual vibrato signal. So that's cool, and we can add some reverb to it too from the Big Sky. Now that's cool. You know, we like to add chorusy modulation to the repeats of delays and reverbs, but the vibrato on the dry signal itself kind of adds something different to it. And that's cool. But the other thing about this is putting a really thick reverb before this, so you're actually using the vibrato to pitch bend the reverb signal itself, can lead to some really cool sounds. So I'm going to turn on the Flint, I'm going to put on a high mix, a really high decay, and I'm going to use the 80s mode, which is the modulated mode. Okay, so here's what this sounds like. So you can hear what's going on there. The reverb is being turned into a lo-fi signal and is being pitch shifted too. And it kind of turns your guitar into sort of a synth thing. Let me turn it down. I think that's a really, really cool sound. And really what I'm trying to get at here, I guess, is that the Instant Lo-Fi Junkie really serves as kind of a frequency shifter. And I think that's really what a lot of us ambient players are looking for, especially if you're doing looping stuff. So if you're just layering guitar part on top of guitar part, you start really building upon the same frequencies over and over again. It gets really muddy. The cool thing about the Lo-Fi Junkie is you snap it on and it really shifts your guitar's sound a lot. And what that can do for you is make it so that your whatever parts you're playing stand out. So you can play a clean part, you know. You can record that on a loop or even in your software or whatever. And then with one button, you're all of a sudden in a completely different range. So that's one of, I think, the coolest things about this, is the ability to just really mess up your sound in a good way and allow yourself some space from other guitar tracks. So that's one of my favorite uses of this. And the last thing I want to say about it is that you know, vibrato is a cool effect by itself. Compression is a cool effect by itself. The lo-fi is cool by itself. But I know I'm probably not the only one that kind of struggles with, like, okay, how do I determine what pedals can go on my board? How does something make itself worth the space, you know? And one of the reasons I like this so much is it can do a bunch of different weird things, all of which I don't necessarily want to use all the time or necessarily even a lot. But because it can do multiple things, it can do that sort of chorusy effect, you know? There might be times when I want that, but I probably don't use it enough to justify it being on my board all the time, just a chorus effect, you know? But it's there if I want it, and I can easily get a really dark lo-fi tone. Again, not something I'm going to use all the time, but something that's readily available, and this pedal can do multiple of those things, and that's what makes it worth it, I think. Anyways, I think that sounds pretty cool. I think this is a really cool pedal, especially for us AMI guys who are into, and this really gets into the area of more, I guess you have to use the word textural, I guess. So there's, you know, the big pretty delay and reverb sounds, but then there's also these kind of weird gritty sounds, and I think, you know, a lot of us, myself included, like to sort of combine those sounds. So this is just a really cool pedal to destroy your guitar signal in a really pretty way, and that's why I really like it. And to be honest, yeah, I'm playing in a band right now called Archibald, and the first time I brought this pedal to practice, I ended up writing it into a song. So not that I'm, you know, feeling bad about being stuck with it, but I am sort of stuck with it. I need it now. So, and I wouldn't be surprised if this happened to any of you guys who decide to try this out. So anyway, that's the Instant Lo-Fi Junkie from ZVEX. I hope I've showed you some interesting ways to use it, and even if not, you know, if you're still not into this pedal, maybe you've thought of some different things to try to, you know, really mess up your signal or try to make it more lo-fi or grungy, you know, like this does. So anyways, thanks for watching. Check out more stuff like this at ReverbNerds.com. Talk to you guys later.